Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to dive into my experience with a Dexa scan. I'm going to share with you exactly what a Dexa scan is, what an incredibly insightful tool it is to use in your weight loss, fitness journey, health journey, especially for those who are on a GLP-1 peptide. And I've done 2 Dexa scans so far, so I have a comparison between the two. One was done in October of 2023. The other one was done in July of 2024. And I'm going to do another one next year in 2025 to see where I am at that point. So I'm going to explain to you what a DEXA scan is, what it measures, why you're going to want to go out and get one as soon as you've seen this video, how to read the results of the DEXA scan, how it's going to help you in your journey, what the potential risks are, the cost, how to go get one, how to find one. And I'm going to walk you through my results as well. And I'm going to show you how things can change over time and how it will explain what your body composition is so much better, really almost than anything else, and why the numbers go far beyond what a scale could ever tell you. All right, so let's jump in. So what's a DEXA scan? DEXA, that is the abbreviation. A DEXA scan stands for Dual Energy X-ray Absorptiometry Scan, if I'm saying that right. Essentially, it's a specialized X-ray and it measures 3 critical things. It measures your body fat percentage as well as the weight. It measures your lean muscle mass and your bone density. It is considered to be the gold standard for accurately assessing body composition because it gives such a detail and a breakdown of where your body fat percentages are, trunk and lower body and things of that nature, where things are distributed, where the muscle mass is, how dense your bones are. I know people, including family members, who have lost a significant amount of weight, and they have done it predominantly through a caloric deficit, maybe added in a lot of cardio to help them lose that weight, and have not done any sort of resistance training or strength training or lifting weights at all. And at the end of their weight journey, they did lose a lot of weight. However, people have said to them, you don't look good. You kind of look unwell. You look a little sickly. They felt weak. They couldn't eat much. And if they did eat more, because their calories are so low, they would gain weight like instantly. And this is kind of where you might sometimes see people like who get the Ozempic face and their face looks saggy and whatnot. If you lose too much fat in your face or you're losing bone density, and that happens as well. If you're not lifting weights, you can lose bone density and you can lose it in your face as well. And that can set you up for osteopenia and osteoporosis. Those are things you do not want at all. You want to avoid that at all costs. I'm going to give you a little stat on that. And if it scares you, good, because it scares me. We are training to be old. We are training for when we are older so that we could be active, agile, and healthy. So here's a little stat for you, especially for women, because women are much more prone to have osteopenia or osteoporosis, which is a weakening of the bones. So if that happens to you, studies have shown for women over the age of 65 who fall down and break a hip, 50% will never walk the same. 50%. 20% will die within a year due to other complications. That is a scary stat. If I fall down, I want to be able to get right back up. I have a friend whose mother fell out of bed, broke a hip, and has been in rehab now for months and months and months. And she'll never walk the same again. That's just a really scary stat. So it is so important. And when you get a DEXA scan, you see the numbers, you will see this and you will be able to make improvements. That's the big takeaway from here. You will get the results and then you will be able to make better choices to improve your health. So why did I decide to get a DEXA scan? I had heard about them. And when I finally decided to do it, it was because scale weight wasn't really telling me the story. I wasn't quite sure, should I lose more weight? Should I not? Looking at the height charts and whatnot. And yeah, my clothes fit really good and I did feel good, but I just was like, could I lose a little bit more or not? I wasn't quite sure. So you know what? I'm going to go for Dexa scan. That will then be able to give me my body composition. And I really wanted to know what my lean muscle mass, and I also really wanted to know my bone density, because that is just so important. And it would help me define my program and where I needed to go forward from there. So why is bone density important? Now, I mentioned earlier that over the age of 65, if your bone density is weak, it sets you up for potential fractures and really bad stuff happening. And generally, a doctor is not going to order a DEXA scan to measure your bone density until you're around 65 or 70 years old. And by that time, yeah, you can reverse it a little bit, but it's kind of too late. So wouldn't you rather know now when you're 30 or 40, or like me, I'm 53, I kind of wish I had gone earlier to know. And if I could have gone at the beginning of my journey, or I thought about it, or if any of you are at the beginning of your journeys, I would absolutely get one now to see where your starting point is, and then get one in another 6 or 12 months to see how you're progressing. Okay, so what happens in a DEXA scan? So it's basically an x-ray. You lay down, it literally takes about 7 or 8 minutes, and this object just kind of goes over your body while you're laying flat on your back, and it slowly measures things, and that's it. It's so easy to do. Now, what are the risks? It's so minimal. The risk of the x-ray is equivalent, the radiation is equivalent. If you were flying across the country, say East Coast to West Coast, by the time you're halfway over, that's basically the amount of the x-ray that you're getting. So it is incredibly minimal. If you go to the dentist and you get x-rays of your mouth, it's less than that. So it is really, really, really minimal. I don't really think it's much of a risk. So they say, studies have said, you could even go 4 times a year. It's not a problem. Go every quarter. So that's the risk. The biggest risk is really the cost of it, and I'll get to that a little bit later. So what does the bone density results mean? So they provide 2 different scores for the bone density. One is called a T-score, one is called a Z-score. One measures they measure your bone density as compared to your age group, and then the other one compares it to like a healthy younger person in terms of where you fall. So that's kind of an interesting data point. Okay, now one of the other items that it measures is your body fat percentage. So how do you know where you fall? Is it healthy? Is it not healthy? So I'm going to give you that data as well. Okay, so for women, essential body fat is between 10 and 13%. So that is essential for proper hormonal function and bodily function, things of that nature. Athletes tend to fall in the 14 to 20% range. Fitness, what they categorize as fitness range, is between 21 and 24%. Acceptable for women is between 25 and 31%. And then the obesity range is really anywhere over 32% for a woman. And that is where they're starting to see a lot of inflammation and toxicity that's coming from the excess body fat and the visceral fat that wraps around the organs. So again, acceptable healthy range for a woman is between 25 and 31%. You really don't want to go lower than 10%, and you don't want to be higher than 31%. That's very, very unhealthy. Now for men can go lower in the body fat percentage, and they typically are. Women, we carry a little bit more because we have hormones, and we want to have children and things of that nature. So women typically can carry a little bit more. So for men, essential fat is between 2 and 5%. The athlete range for men is between 6 and 13%. The fitness range is between 14 and 17%. The acceptable range for a man is between 18 and 24%. And then for a man, obesity is considered over 25%. So when I went and got my Dexa results, I saw where I fell in those ranges, and it provided me much better context than simply focusing on scale weight. So my results, I'm going to talk about what those are. So my results, I first went for the Dexa scan in October of 2023. And then I went back again in July of 2024 to see where I was and compare the results. Again, I had no idea what those results were going to be. And also the at-home scales that measure the body impedance. And I have one of those scales, the at-home scales, they do measure like everything, the body fat and the muscle and all of that. It is highly inaccurate. You cannot pay attention to those numbers. Maybe the trends you could pay attention to, The only thing accurate about the at-home scales that measure those areas is the weight. That's usually pretty accurate. Mine is very accurate on the weight. My scale weight was exactly the scale weight when I went to the facility to get my Dexa scan. All the other numbers were way off and higher. They were higher than the Dexa scan. So to give context, in October of 2023, when I went, I weighed about 110 pounds. And then when I went back in July as a comparison, I was about 111 pounds. So I was up about a pound or so. But here's where it gets really interesting. So my fat mass went from 11 and a half pounds down to about 10 pounds. So that was pretty cool. I actually lost a pound and a half of body fat. I mean, it's not a lot, but I'll take it. And the other cool part was my lean mass, my lean muscle mass, it actually increased. It went from 94 and a half pounds up to 96 and a half pounds. So I lost a pound and a half of body fat and I gained 2 pounds of muscle. So that I thought was pretty cool. In terms of body fat percentages, I was shockingly on the low side. I, again, had no idea. So the first time I went, it measured out at 10.8% body fat. And then when I went in July, it measured me at 9.5%. So I was like kind of blown away by that. Now, the Dexa, again, doesn't just give overall numbers. It breaks down the fat distribution by areas of the body. So, for example, it will tell you your android fat. Android is trunk. That's your abdominal, your back fat, and things in that area. And then your gynoid. So that is your hips and your buttocks. So it'll tell you where the fat distribution is. So as a comparison, I went from what they call 7.2% down to 4.9%. And that was in the android area. So that was in the trunk area. So that I thought was pretty cool. So that's where the body fat really got reduced. And then the gynoid fat, again, the lower body, the hips and the buttocks area, that one actually increased a little bit. That went from 12.4% up to 13%. So, hey, I don't mind that. If I could put a little in the booty, that's totally fine by me. But that was great. That means I really lost a pretty good amount in the trunk area. That's the area you really want to lose in because that is where the visceral fat is. That's the fat that wraps itself around your internal organs and is really, really unhealthy for you and creates much more inflammation in the body. So that's a great thing to lose. They also give what's called an AG ratio. That's an android to gynoid ratio. And what the meaning of that is, the ratio for women, you want to be 0.8 or below. For men, you want to be 1.0 or below in terms of that ratio, AG ratio. Mine went from 0.58 down to 0.38. So I was pretty thrilled with that. So I'm healthy. So why does the Dexa scan matter more than scale weight? These results show that Dexa scans, they provide much more meaningful information than scale weight alone. So despite minor changes in weights and the shift in the muscle and the fat distribution and body composition, what really matters especially when you're taking a GLP-1 medication, you don't want to have muscle wasting. And this is a great way to know if what you're doing is putting you on the path for muscle wasting or not. And GLP-1s have been demonized for causing muscle wasting, which they don't, right? We know now that the muscle wasting is from not lifting weights, not eating sufficient protein, and having a severe caloric deficiency, and you're just losing too much weight, which is going to translate itself into a lot of muscle waste. So this DEXA scan will give you that data to know what you're doing, and it gives you the opportunity to make different choices. So for anyone that's now considering getting a DEXA scan and now you can't wait to go get those numbers and see your results, you're probably wondering, like, how do you get one? Your doctor could possibly order one, but insurance, if you're under the age of 65, chances are insurance is not going to pay for it. So it will be an out-of-pocket expense. You can just Google DEXA scan near me. That's what I did, and it came up with a bunch of results. The cost is somewhere between $100 and $250 in general. You might be able to find one on Groupon. I couldn't, but I did find one that was about 45 minutes from me, cost $100, and it was so worth the money. In fact, if the only option was $250, I still would go. To have this data, it was so empowering. Now, before you go for your DEXA scan, it's really important in order to get the most accurate, best results. I advise go in the morning, first thing, do not eat anything, do not drink anything. You're gonna just wanna wear like kind of loose clothing or workout clothing. Don't wear anything that's metal. They will make you take that off. So no earrings, rings, necklaces, no zippers, things that have metal on it. That's pretty much it. You'll go in, they will weigh you, they will put you under the scanner. You don't feel anything. You just lay there for 7 to 8 minutes. It's super easy and you get your results right away. So again, if you want to go and get a DEXA scan to know these data points, it gives you so much more information to help you understand what is really going on beneath the surface of your body. It could be a complete game changer and really change how you look at yourself and how you look at the scale. I know it has for me because I know that I don't need to lose any more weight. If anything, I want to gain more muscle and more strength. And that's what I'm going to focus on now. Relying solely on the scale is just incredibly misleading. We are also used to thinking that if that scale weight number goes down, we're on the right track and we're getting healthier. And that may not be the case, especially if you're losing muscle, because the scale does not differentiate between fat, muscle, water retention, or water loss. Like it doesn't know. And to fool yourself into thinking that just because you're losing weight, you're on the right track, that might not be the right thing to do. So also the last thing you want to do is to lose muscle. We need to retain and actually build as much muscle as possible. So if you are gaining muscle and reducing body fat, which is absolutely possible to do on a GLP-1, you're on the right track. And the scale may not be reflecting that. So for example, let's say you lost 5 pounds of body fat, but you gained 4 pounds of muscle. The scale's only showing a pound difference. But your clothes are probably fitting a whole lot better because muscle takes up less space than fat. So you're actually on the right track doing the right thing. And then you have your friend who's losing 20 pounds, not doing anything, not lifting weights, but losing a lot of muscle. But you're feeling like, like she's winning or she's doing better than me. And I see that so often. Like, no, you're lifting weights, you're building muscle, you're healthier, you're doing it better. Your metabolism's gonna be higher at the end. You're gonna look better, you're gonna feel better, you're gonna have more energy. You're gonna be in a much better place. So with this knowledge of having this DEXA scan, you can completely fine tune your approach. So for example, if you go and get the DEXA scan and it shows that you have a lot of belly fat, you know that you have visceral fat there. If your AG ratio is higher as a woman than 0.8 or as a man higher than 1.0, you know where you need to lose that body fat. And that's all it is. These are just data points to help you in your journey, to help you change things up, to fine tune things. Does it mean you go up in your dose? Does it mean you change your nutrition plan? Or perhaps maybe you increase your step count or you add another day to your lifting program or you change something up in that. So it'll help you to fine tune all of that. And you won't be so hard on yourself when it comes to scale weights. So a DEXA scan is truly one of the most powerful tools you could use in your journey, and it really will help to empower you with more information to better address a healthier journey. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment. Have you had a DEXA scan before? I would love to hear, what your results were, what your feelings and how it potentially changed your journey. If you're thinking about getting one, or if you have any questions in general about this, I would definitely love to hear from you. Share this as well. Definitely want to get the word out more. I think a DEXA scan is so imperative to get, especially when you're younger. I wish I had gone when I was a little bit younger than this. So again, please give me a thumbs up and a comment if you're enjoying. Hit the subscribe button if you want to be alerted for more videos. If you're looking for additional support and help, I do have a private and free Facebook group at Juls Wellness Warrior over on Facebook. So if you want to go over there, great bunch of people who are there to help support with fitness, with weight loss, and your GLP-1 journey. So I hope to see you in my next video, and stay strong.